Hello, my friends, and welcome to the second part of the miniseries dubbed Loner Deck Battles. My name is Joshua Wenninger, and I'll go through the final deck. I was going to try to go through it. I was hoping to be able to go through all three in one video, but that wasn't able to work out, unfortunately, because I had to keep it around an hour. But I'll just go through it now. It'll be a shorter video, but that's okay because I'm uploading all of these as a mini series in one day, so that kind of makes up for all. So it doesn't really matter too much anyway. And like if I was doing a live stream, I was like, this may have been how long the live stream was anyway, which it probably would have been not as long, but I thought this would be pretty fun. Let me know if you enjoy it. Anyway, let's get into this last loner deck here, and then I'll finish, and then I'll be finished with these deck explanations or deck explanations. Anyway, this one is called Miracles of Convergence. Deck description says this deck employs a strategy that revolves around Stardust Dragon, using it to call out even bigger and more powerful Synchro monsters. Special summon Shooting Majestic Star Dragon with Majestic Dragon, and it'll gain extra attacks during your battle phase depending on what kind of monsters on your graveyard. This superstar will be sure to lead you to victory. So anyway, the first card is Majestic Dragon, which has an effect that simply says it cannot be used as synchro material except for the synchro summon of a majestic monster. You'll be seeing what those majestic monsters are soon enough. Those are your synchro monsters. And then Stardust Shaoling says, when you synchro summon Stardust Dragon, you get to special summon this card from your graveyard in attack position. And then of course its second effect will probably not be brought up a lot, because you're probably just gonna use it for synchro plays most of the time, but sometimes it can be good for not being able to be destroyed by battle once per turn. And then Effect Veiler. So this one actually has a hand trap in it, which is weird. Like the other decks don't really have hand traps unless you consider like Call by the Grave. I mean, like Call by the Grave is kind of like some of your back row, I would say, because you can always set it, or you can like use it to like stop hand traps yourself. And then of course a lot of you probably know what Effect Veiler does, but in case you don't, it basically allows you to, it can only be activated during your opponent's main phase, but when they try it activating a monster effect, you can negate the effects of that face up monster your opponent controls until the end of the turn. What's pretty nice about that is it can, like, it doesn't just negate that one effect, it negates all of the effects. So if they try activating a different effect of that monster, they can't. So that's kind of cool. And then Unknown Synchro allows you to special summon itself to your field as long as you control no monsters while your opponent, while your opponent controls one. And then Jet Synchron is pretty good. When sent to the graveyard as sync material, you get to search for a junk, and when it's in the graveyard, you get to send a card from your hand to the graveyard to special summon this card out from your graveyard. So that's pretty nice. And then Converging World's Dragon, when you of course, just like Majestic Dragon, you can't use it for any synchro play except for Majestic play. But also, its name becomes Majestic Dragon while I'm feeling in the graveyard. And also, when you draw this card, you get to special summon it by revealing it. And then if you control a level 8 or higher dragon monster, synchro monster, you can special summon a level 1 dragon monster from your deck. So it can allow you to special summon either Stardust, Xiaoling, or Majestic Dragon. But you're probably gonna want to special summon Majestic Dragon. Sad, although Xiaoling can be good. Anyway, there's also Quillbolt Hedgehog, which has a graveyard effect allowing you to special summon it when you control a tuner, but it gets banished when it leaves the field. And then Synchron Explorer allows you to special summon Synchron monster. It doesn't have to be a tuner, it can be any Synchron monster from your graveyard. When it's normal summon, you get special summon out of the graveyard. And then Doppel Warrior, when a monster is special summoned from the graveyard, you get to special summon this card from your hand. So that happens a little bit. So you'll probably be able to get off the special summon. Like it'll probably be live quite a bit, but you can also normal summon this card if you need to. And then once you send to the graveyard Synchro, you get to special summon out 2 Doppel tokens that are level 1. The attack and defense doesn't really matter. Like what matters is that you're basically special summoning himself out again, but in 2 forms that are like half the level. So that's kind of cool. He basically like can create duplicates of himself, sort of, but like that are halved, in order to like go into even more synchro plays. And then Junk Converter allows you to discard this card in one Synchron tuner from your hand to search out another Synchro monster to search out a Synchro monster from your deck. And when sent to the graveyard Synchro, you get to special summon a tuner from your graveyard. And each one is a hard once per turn, but you can activate each effect in the same turn if you like. And then Satellite Synchron says if a monster is special summoned from the graveyard while this card is in your hand, you get to special summon it. And if you have a monster whose original name if you have a Synchron monster with Warrior, Synchron, or Stardust in its original name on your field or graveyard, even, you get to have this card's level be treated as 4, so that's pretty cool. It can basically increase its level, but you don't have to if you don't want to, so that's pretty cool. It has a little bit of versatility there with the level manipulation. And then Junk Synchron allows you to special summon out of level 2 whenever it's normal summon from your level 2 monster from your graveyard. And then Stardust Synchron allows you to tribute a monster to bring itself out to special summon itself from the hand or graveyard, which is kind of cool. And then Stardust Trail has quite a few effects. If this can trigger off of the tributing to bring out the Stardust Synchron, so that's pretty cool. Like if you activate Stardust Synchron, you can like then special summon this card from your hand or graveyard, but you also have to banish it when it leaves the field. And then also, if a Warrior, Synchron, or Stardust is sync summon using this card's material, you get to special summon a Stardust token that's level 1 to your field. And then each effect is all hard once per turn, but you can use each effect in the same turn if you want. So that's pretty nice. It can create another token. That's always nice to be able to go into even more synchro plays later on. And then Hoppy's Feather Duster, again, I went over these. I went over all of these. The reinforcement of the army can allow you to bring bring out the Junk Synchron, the Doppel Warrior, the Junk Converter. So quite a few good ones they can bring out with reinforcement. And then tuning is basically the reinforcement of the army, but allowing you to it allows you to search out any Synchron tuner, and then you just send the top card, and so it's barely a downside. And that cannot even be an upside if you like send like a level 2 if you bring out like Junk Synchron, then you like, and then your top card was like a level 2 monster. Or your top card was like a Stardust Synchron, you can just bring that out. Or like, yeah. So there's a lot of cards that like probably want to be in the graveyard anyway, so it's pretty good either way. And then Lightning Storm I already went over. And then Stardust Illumination allows you to it allows you to either send a Stardust monster from your deck to a graveyard, or if you control Stardust Dragon, which is probably what you'd rather have, be able to special summon it, or a single monster that lists Stardust Dragon as text, you get to special summon that monster instead, which is probably what you want. Although you could always just use it to send Stardust Trail and be able to like use the Stardust Synchron to like be able to bring special summon itself anyway. But like if you control a Stardust, probably you can bring out like the Shaoling or the, I don't think you're gonna be able to bring out the Majestic Dragon or the Converging Will Dragon, but you can bring like either do Shaoling or Stardust Trail with this one. And then also you can banish this card from the graveyard, and this can be activated in the same turn you use the first effect, but of course each effect is a hard once per turn. To basically manipulate the levels either by increasing or decreasing the level by 1 of a Stardust monster you control. So that can be pretty good if you need the level to be a little bit higher or lower to go into other plays. So that's pretty nice. And then this one allows you to pick a Stardust or Stardust Dragon or a single monster that lists Stardust Dragon's text. And activate one of these effects on it. Either you equip this card to it, oh wait, no, you equip one face-up monster your opponent controls to it. So that's kind of cool. It gets to attack directly, so that can be really good, especially for the ones that can attack multiple times, which are a few of. And then when it does, each time it destroys an opponent's monster by battle, you inflict damage to your opponent equal to the destroyed monster's original attack. But if you have one that has a multi-attack, you probably would rather attack directly with it anyway. But like that, like any of these effects can be pretty good. And then Synchro Overtake allows you to reveal a Synchro monster in your X deck to basically special summon one of its Synchro materials, or add to your hand one of those Synchro materials from your deck or graveyard. So that's pretty good. And then, I mean, its restriction doesn't matter since you're only going to be able to special summon Synchro monsters anyway. And it's a hard once per turn. But you're only going to be activating one of these anyway, so it doesn't really matter since you're probably not going to be occurring it anyway. Synchro Chase allows you to like not be able to force your opponent to not be able to activate cards effects in response to your Synchro monsters, as long as they have Warrior, Synchron, and Stardust in their original names, which some of these don't, but like a lot of these like would be protected from that. But anyway, if you Synchro summon a Warrior, Synchron, Stardust monster, you get to special summon one of the materials that was used for a Synchro. As long as it ended up in the graveyard, you get to special summon it. So that's pretty good. It's each effect is a hard once per turn though, but you can like choose not to do it on the first Synchro summon if you don't want to, if you have like a better special summon in mind. So like they're not mandatory effects, which can be pretty good. And then Arrive in Light, when it's activated, you get to place a level 1 dragon, which there's a pretty cool combo with this. You get to place a level 1 dragon. What you can do is you can place Converging Will Dragon on top of your deck with this first effect. And then also, like, neither player can return Stardust Dragon and single monster that lists Stardust Dragon's text from the field CX deck, which can be pretty cool too, also. And then its last effect says when a Synchro monster, that it doesn't have to be one of yours, so it can like even be when your opponent is Synchro summoning. You get to apply one of these effects, but you cannot apply that same effect of Arrive in Light again this turn. So what you can do is you can like go into Synchro, activate this card, add the Converging Will Dragon to the top of your deck, and then go into a Synchro play, and then you can choose to draw a card with this card. It's effect, and then since you're drawing the Converging Will Dragon, you then get to like special summon it. But what I learned is that like if you're drawing 2 cards, like if you bring out Stardust Charge Warrior and drawing 2 cards, you can't really do that. It will like basically miss timing. But like a way around that is just to basically just activate the Stardust Charge Warrior and like hang on to Arrive in Light, or like just use its second ability, Special Summon a tuner from your hand if you have one, and then you'll still be able to do and then you should still be able to do Converging Will Dragon effect. Yeah. And then I said the second effect is the Special Summon a tuner from your hand. Anyway, the next one is Called by the Grave, which is I already went over. Starlight Road is a pretty good effect. If your opponent was to activate basically a mass destruction effect of at least destroying, like that at least destroys 2 or more, then you get to special summon a Stardust from your X deck. But since it's not properly summoned, if you do use the effect of Stardust Dragon, which is basically kind of the same thing, but this allows like even if like your opponent just is going to destroy 1, you can still activate it. But since you're not properly special summoning it, you don't get to special summon out from the graveyard later on. So just keep that in mind. And then Majestic Mirage is the final one. And it says, if a face-up card you control leaves the field by your card effect, or to activate the effect of your card, and the card that left the field was Stardust Dragon or a Synchro monster that listed Stardust Dragon's text, you can apply one of the following effects, but you cannot apply that same effect of Majestic Mirage again this turn. Special summon one of those monsters, banish one monster from your opponent's field or graveyard. Any damage you take this turn is halved. Okay, so basically if you activate the effect of like Stardust Dragon or another Synchro monster that lists Stardust Dragon, if like they activate the effects causing them to leave the field, you get to basically wait, what? You get to, the special summon probably doesn't really matter that much since it's probably going to special summon itself anyway. So like you're probably most likely going to activate either banish one monster from opponent's field or graveyard, or any damage take this turn is halved. Either one of those, but more likely than not you're probably going to just activate the banish effect. I think that's how it's working. So you're probably not going to special summon it, because like, I mean, I guess if you like want to be able to activate it again during the same turn, like then you can, because at least Stardust Dragon is gonna once per turn. So if you're able to like special summon it right back after it uses its effect, you can then like get its effect off again. So so that can actually come in handy right there. And then Formula Synchron is really good because some of these other Synchro monsters require tuner synchro, so this is good for that. So you kind of probably want to, and also allows you to quick effect synchro summon during your opponent's turn. You probably want to be able to use this to go into those synchro monsters that would kind of require this, or else it's you're kind of wasting it, I guess. But when sync summon, you get to draw a card. So another one that lets you draw a card. Also a quick effect, Synchro Summon can come in handy. And then Junk Warrior, its effect probably doesn't matter too much. You're probably gonna be using him to go into other plays, but it can come up. It allows you to gain attack equal to total attack of all level 2 or lower monsters you can currently control. And then Jet Warrior, when Synchro Summon, you get to return a card your opponent controls to the hand, and when it's in your graveyard, you get to attribute a level 2 or lower monster, special summon this card out in defense position but banish it when it leaves the field. And then you can only use each effect of Jet Warrior once per turn. So that first effect is pretty good, especially with one of the other Synchro monsters I'll be showing you. And then also its effect that basically allows it to recur itself is pretty nice too. But it won't trigger the first effect since it won't be Synchro Summon. And of course you need to you're gonna have had to Synchro Summon out properly first in order to be able to use it. Graveyard effect, because it can't special summon itself if it's cheated out. Anyway, Excel Synchron basically allows you to mill a Synchron, and then also you get to either increase this card's level by the level of that monster sent, or decrease. And then this is also another quick effect synchro, and it's another tuner. So you do have a few tuners, and this one can be pretty nice because unfortunately it's not a quick effect once per turn. So if you're planning to synchro summon during your opponent's turn using this, you're gonna have to use a it permanently increases its level or reduces. So actually, yeah, that can still be good. And then Junk Speeder, I think, is a really nice card. It basically, when it's synchro summon, you get to special summon synchron monsters from your deck with different levels, synchron tuners from your deck with different levels, as many as you can. So you get to special summon out a bunch as long as they have different levels, and the synchron tuners, they get special summoned straight from the deck to the field, and then so you can go into even more synchro plays using those. So I think that's really nice. It's not too hard to go into either. So you can simply just use Junk Synchron, bringing out a level 2 non-tuner with its effect, and then just go into Junk Speeder because it requires a Synchron tuner, but that's still not too hard. You could also do level 4 Stardust Synchron with a level 1 monster that's a effect monster, with a... Is there a level 1? Maybe not. Maybe that's the only play you can do. But still pretty good. And then Stardust Charge Warrior, I already said it allows you to draw a card, and then also can attack all special monsters your opponent controls once each, which can be pretty nice as well. And then Shooting Riser Dragon, basically when sync summon, you get, this is another one of those mail to like, but it specifically reduces this card's level by that monster's. And then you can't activate that monster's effects or monsters with the same name as the one you sent to the graveyard. And then this is another one that allows you to quick effect Synchro Summon using it. So it's kind of like a lesser like Excel Synchron because it's not a tuner, but it can still be pretty nice. And then Stardust Dragon basically allows you to negate a destruction based effect by tributing itself off. And it's not a once per turn, and then you can like special summon this card from your graveyard during the end phase when its effect was activated. And what's notable is that since it's not once per turn, you can like do it, and then if you have Majestic Mirage on the field, you can special summon it out again, and then just like use it again if you need to. You can have it live once again. And then Shooting Star Dragon, okay, this is one of the ones that requires a tuner Synchro monster, so you're gonna want to have the Excel Synchron and Formula Synchron. But what's cool about is they both of these allow you to like basically quick effect special summon this. Which is kind of cool. And then, but like if you're trying, but if you're going into this, like in response to like Hoppy's Feather Duster, something like that, you won't be able to negate the Hoppy's Feather Duster, like because like it would be outside of that. It would be in a separate chain, and well, okay, you know what I mean. It has to already be on the field to be able to negate a card. So if you're thinking about doing something like that, just like you can't really do it as a surprise factor, unlike some other things that allow you to like negate the Hoppy's Feather Duster, but it's still pretty good. Its effect is still really good. You get to, its first effect allows you to excavate the top 5 cards of your deck, then shuffle back in, and then this card's maximum attacks per battle phase become equal to the amount of tuner monsters that you excavated. Just keep in mind that if you don't excavate any tuners, it gets 0 attacks. But you have quite a few tuners, so you should be able to activate it pretty often. You should be able to, but yeah, that is a downside. If you don't see any tuners, you don't get any attacks with it at all. But its other effect says it's basically a Shooting Star Dragon effect that doesn't force you to like take this card off the field. And then also has an effect when your opponent activates a monster, but that effect to like negate and destroy a destruction based effect is a once per turn. So you can't really do that Mirage play with it, but it's still pretty good. And then its last effect says that you can negate an attack from an opponent's monster once per turn by banishing this card. And then during the next end phase, you special summon this card banished by this effect. So that can make you wait quite a bit. But like if you have Majestic Mirage out, you can basically just special summon it out right away, or like banish a card. So that's kind of cool. You get to negate and maybe banish a card if you have Majestic Mirage out. And then Stardust Warrior is another one. It's pretty good. This one allows you to negate special summons by triggering this card. And then you destroy that monster. And that one's not a hard once per turn, so what you can do is you can like Majestic Mirage it back, and then you can like negate another special summon later on. So that's kind of cool. It doesn't really stop true Dracos since they don't do any special summoning. All of theirs are treated as tribute summons, so. But it's still good against a lot of other decks, since a lot of the other decks will do a lot of special summoning. Can be nice for those. And then, and then, of course, it's like, it brings itself back when it uses its effect during the end phase. And then another nice thing is, if it's destroyed in any way by opponent's either card effect or by battle, and it doesn't need to be sent to a graveyard either, so that's pretty cool. You get to special summon a level 8 or lower warrior synchro monster from your X deck. And since it's treated as a synchro monster, synchro summon, what is pretty cool is you can bring out one of your warrior guys and still be able to get off its synchro summon effect. So like you can use the Jet Warrior to return a card to the hand if they try destroying it. So that's pretty cool. Or the Excel Synchron, and then you can like be able to go into like other synchro plays maybe. Or Junk Speeder to special summon out a bunch of monsters. Wait, no, it has to have warrior in its name, so no, not that one. And Excel Synchron wouldn't work either. But Jet Warrior is probably, or you could bring out Stardust Charge Warrior too. But like, so like you really only have two options, but then both not too bad. You probably are gonna want to bring out Jet Warrior most of the time if your opponent has a card to get, especially if your opponent has like a synchro. What was pretty nice was like they tried activating Raigeki, but then I was able to bring out the Jet Warrior off of the Stardust Warrior, and then I returned their synchro monster, the remaining Blackwing synchro monster, to the hand, and then they pretty much conceded after that. So that was pretty cool. And then Shooting Star Dragon TGEX. This one allows you to negate a monster effect that targets a monster you control, a monster or monsters. So like it can even negate a monster effect that like mass targets, which is pretty nice too. You get to banish a tuner from your graveyard to negate it. And it's oh, and I don't, oh yeah, and that effect isn't on once per turn either, so you can just keep doing it. So that's pretty cool, as long as you have tuners in your graveyard. And then each of these are hard once per turn though, but you can still use each of them if you would like. This also allows you to negate the attack of an opponent's monster, or and then if this ends up in the graveyard during your opponent's turn, you get to tribute 2 single monsters to special summon this card. Which, I mean, that's kind of a lot to ask for, but hey, it's not terrible, so like that might be worth doing to special summon out again. So, and then the next one is Shooting Majestic Star Dragon. This is one of the ones that call for Majestic Dragon, which allows you to either use the actual Majestic Dragon or the Converging Wills Dragon. And then also calls for non-tuner monster, at least one plus, and at least one of them needs to be a Dragon Synchro monster. So this can only be so this has to be synchro summoned first before you can bring it out by other ways. And then this card allows you to negate, it's not a quick effect though, but it does allow you to negate the effects of an effect monster your opponent controls. And it also gains an additional attack for every monster in your graveyard that is Stardust Dragon, or a synchro monster with Stardust Dragon's text. And then it allows you to also negate a card or effect that your opponent activates by banishing this card until the end phase, and like negating and banishing that card. So like this can be really good when you're like already filling up your graveyard with a bunch of like Stardust stuff, and then you can just like bring this out and have like it have a lot of attacks. So that's kind of good for like helping to close out games, especially if you have like if you're able to then like put majestic absorption on it, since like that. Wait, no. Yeah, no, it lists Stardust Dragon anywhere in its text, so like it's fine. So then you can just attack directly with like its multiple attacks. And like really like you just need to be able to attack directly with it 2 times, and then that's exactly 8,000. So that can be a pretty cool combo right there. And then shooting Quasar Dragon is also another one. This one you can't special summon in any ways except by Synchro Summon. This one requires quite a bit. It requires a tuner Synchro monster plus 2 or more non-tuner Synchro monsters. So it is a little bit hard to bring out, but like if you can bring it out, its maximum attacks per battle phase equals the number of non-tuner monsters that were used as Synchro materials. So, and this is another one. Oh, this one doesn't actually list Stardust Dragon anywhere in its text, so like you wouldn't be able to like. But like if your opponent doesn't have any monsters on the field anyway, like you can still like use this to like attack multiple times, maybe getting game right there. And then this is another one where like a lot of these have the effect where like this one, it just activates on any card effect though, so that's kind of cool. You get to negate the activation of any card effect and destroy. And then also it has a little bit of protection. Allows you to special summon a Shooting Star Dragon from your extra deck when it leaves the field, which is that one. The one that allows you to excavate the top 5 cards and have it, and then also has a few negation effects itself. Anyway, Cosmic Blazer is the last one, and this is also a little bit of a hard one to bring out. It's kind of like kind of about as hard as Cosmic Blazer, kind of the same materials there. And just like the last one, it also has to be sync summoned and can't be special summoned by any other ways. And then on a quick effect, you can banish this card until the end phase to activate one of these effects. When your opponent activates a card effect, negate the activation if you do destroy that card. So I think you can activate it in response. I'm not exactly sure if you have to activate it before your opponent like activates something, or if you can activate in response. Because I didn't actually bring this card out to like figure that out. So it either negates the any card or effect, it negates a summon, or it negates an attack, and it also ends the battle phase. So that's really good. Kind of like the negate attack that also does the same thing, but that's on trap. So you can just keep negating, ending the battle phase without your opponent being able to attack at all, which can be pretty nice since it can like recur itself. And also like if you have Majestic Mirage, can you? No, I don't think you would be able to Majestic Mirage it either, since it doesn't show Stardust Dragon in its text. Anyway, so there's that final deck. So stay tuned for the duels and then the final review of all 3 decks and which one I think is the best based on my experiences with each one. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this final deck explanation, and I hope you stay tuned for the next parts. If you enjoy my content, please like, share, and subscribe. considering that notification bell for weekly uploads. I'm starting off with weekly. I might do more, but for now it's going to be weekly. I'm going to try to get a consistent schedule, try to focus on that, and maybe like grow a little bit more later on. And so anyway, that'll be it for this video. Bye everyone.